All right, what is going on, New York Ranger fans and hockey fans? Welcome to another off-season edition of 407 Rangers. It is your host, Raymond Tapia. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and a comment. Turn on your notifications every time I'm about to upload highlights or do a recap or pretty much a whole live video on anything involving the New York Rangers. And also follow me on Twitter because, guys, I actually interact with people that everybody that does Rangers content know. Like I follow E. Lafreniere for MVP, and I also follow NYR Louis. I talk to these guys on a daily basis. Even Bald Panarin, which is a very well known Twitter account. Even Vince Murcielago be like interacting with his tweets. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you're more than welcome. I will follow you back. I'm not going to feel bougie about it. I only have like 61 followers on that app. The only reason why people actually like talk to me, interact with me, and invite me to group chats, it's because I actually know puck. It's not that I don't sit here and try to overdo things or overreact or any of that. It's that sometimes you don't need a million followers to show people you know puck. And I appreciate Twitter a lot for that because that app showed me if you know your puck, people will actually respect you and follow you and even invite you to group chats and things like that. Because I talk to a lot of New York Ranger fans on the Twitter group chat and the Discord chat. And like I said, I talk to the guys that you see and hear about in every other Ranger channel on a daily basis. On a daily basis. And I got to give the utmost respect to them. As also Evan as well from Ranger Central. If it wasn't for Evan, this channel would have not existed. And make sure you guys give him a follow too. He goes by Core Python on Twitter. He actually be doing it. He knows his stuff, man. He really does. He knows his stuff about the Mets and the Rangers. So make sure you guys give him a follow. He's got a pretty fire Twitter account. And also check out his channel as well, Rangers Central and Mets Central if you're a Mets fan. And if you guys want as well, you can check out Rangers Digest, Locked on New York Rangers. Like I am on all these other channels. I just interact with them, chat with them, and then I come and do my personal channel. Now I know it's been a while since they did the scheduling and things like that. And guys, I am extremely sorry that I have not gotten the chance to talk about the scheduling. I've been extremely busy with basketball training and other things outside of YouTube. So it's not that I don't want to do these videos for you guys. Is that I've been having so much going on. I haven't even gotten a chance to sit down, do notes, segments, and like interact with you guys about this latest like off season stuff going on and stuff. But anywho, we'll go ahead and talk about the regular season schedule because the way this schedule is set up for the New York Rangers, it's definitely an interesting one because it seems like to me in the first half of the season, they're going to barely be at home, constantly on the road. There's going to even be a week where they play like 4 or 5 games straight on the road, no nonstop, no breaks. And like they'll have like 1, 2, maybe 3 home games in that same week. And then on the second half, that's when you'll start to see the New York Rangers play a lot more in the Garden because, like I said, the way Gary Bettman set this schedule up, it seems like they're going to go on the road, go out west, get all that out the way in the first half, and then in the second half, that's when you're going to start seeing them be in the Madison Square Garden games a lot more, and they're going to just practically be in New York rather than on the road. Because, like I said, based on this setup and what I've seen, they're going to barely be on the road second half. They're going to be always on the road in the first half. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Because the way I'm going to do it, I'm just going to pretty much do like how many home games, how many road games they play. Because if I try to like break down game by game by game, we'll be here all day. So I'm just going to make it a little simple for you guys. So in the first month of October, they have 5 home games. And then they have 7 games on the road. Now, obviously, on the season opener, it's going to be a home game against Pittsburgh, and it's going to be the Mike Sullivan reunion with his former team and things of that nature. So hopefully Igor gives us another spectacular performance, has another shutout, and everybody just starts scoring. And honestly, I really feel like Alexis Lafreniere might turn it around this year. He really will. I truly think Alexis Lafreniere, even though he had a slump of a season last year, he still put up okay numbers. But I really do feel like it was not his fault. You guys know what was going on in that locker room, and it spread like a disease, and it definitely rubbed on Lafreniere. Nobody can tell me that what the toxic locker room put those teams that team through did not affect how all the other players we expected to play good played. It 100% did. And I truly feel like that's why we didn't get the best of Alexis Lafreniere, because a lot of the players were checked out, and it seemed like it rubbed on him too. So it was like he was checked out just as much as they were. So for the 12th and the 14th, you got them facing the Washington Capitals, and then they're going to face the Edmonton Oilers at home. And on the 20th and the 23rd, the 20th you got the Minnesota Wild, and on the 23rd you have the San Jose Sharks. Now, the interesting thing about the Edmonton series, they're just going to go ahead and get it out the way in the beginning of the season, which is pretty much the month of October. So we'll do the road games as well. So on the 9th, they play the Buffalo Sabres on the road. And then on the 11th, they play the Pittsburgh Penguins on the road. On the 16th, they go to Toronto. On the 18th, they go to Montreal. On the 26th, they go to Calgary. On the 28th, they go to Vancouver. And on the 30th, they go to Edmonton. Now, the Vancouver game is going to be an interesting one because we're going to basically see a Filipino and Victor Mancini reunion, which I hate to see Filipino go, but he was just made of glass, man. He got hurt way too much. And I really feel like if he gets either one more concussion, I really feel like he's going to have to hang up the skates soon. And it's unfortunate because it's not like Filipino's a bad player. He is a skilled, great player. He can shoot the puck really fucking good. And you don't know how much I hate to see that. I hate to see really good hockey players just get banged up. But I also understand this is a part of the sport, unfortunately. This is a physical game. And that's why I tell you guys that when this sport, you got to be strong, not just physically, but mentally for this kind of sport. Because, man, I give credit to all those guys that put up those hits. They still gain concussions and somehow play through it throughout their whole life. You got to give props to them for that because that takes a lot of balls. So, November, we'll go ahead and talk about the scheduling with November as well. So, November's got a unique one because they have 6 games at home, and then once again they have 9 games on the road in November. 9, like that's a huge gap. And on the 1st of the month, you have them going against the Seattle Kraken on the road, so they'll be facing on Capo Caco. But I really feel like Capo Caco might actually have a better season too, because if you didn't notice, he actually was playing better when he went to the Kraken. Even though the Kraken had a mid-record, they didn't make the playoffs. The Kraken definitely turned something around for Capo Caco because he's been gaining a lot. He's a pretty good passer too. He's a really good passer, and I don't think he didn't get enough credit for that. You know, everybody was just still mad at Capo Caco. They wanted him out and stuff. I just feel like the New York Rangers rushed his developmental process too fast because now look, he's in the Kraken and he's playing like we expected him to play in New York, but that's not the case. So on the 7th, they played the Detroit Red Wings. It'll be a battle of the original 6. And on the 12th, they play the Tampa Bay Lightning, which I'm going to try to actually go to that game. I really am. I'm going to try to put some money aside, buy myself a ticket, and go to this game. Because I feel like this year it might be worth taking that drive to go watch them. And the only tricky thing about it is if I don't have practice that day, because it's on a Wednesday. If I don't have practice that day, I'm definitely going to try to go out my way and watch that game. Now, on the 15th, you have them playing against the Columbus Blue Jackets. The 18th, they play the Vegas Golden Knights. On the 20th, they play the Colorado Avalanche. The 22nd, they play the Utah Mammoth. On the 26th, they play Carolina Hurricanes. And on the 28th, the Boston Bruins. Now, at home, they're going to be playing the Hurricanes. So they pretty much see the Hurricanes twice this month. And then on the 8th, they play the Islanders. On the 10th, they play the Nashville Predators. And then on the 16th, they play the Detroit Red Wings. On the 24th, they play the St. Louis Blues. And then on the 29th, they play the Tampa Bay Lightning. So they're going to pretty much be facing 3 teams 2 times in this month alone. This is why I said this schedule is definitely a crazy one. Because like in this month, they're literally facing Tampa twice, Carolina twice, and Detroit twice. Like, that is absolutely bonkers. So they're going to get real familiar with some of these teams, the amount of times they have to see them. Now, see, also December, this is another crazy schedule because they have literally 7 games at home, and then they have 8 games on the road. So it's like they play 1 game more on the road than they do at home. And this is when it's going to get interesting because they're going to start the year off with a much better schedule after this. It's going to seem like a roller coaster, but then all of a sudden when the second half of the season comes around, they're going to start feeling a little more comfortable because they're going to be at home way more. So on the 2nd, for the home games, they play the Dallas Stars. On the 6th, they play the Colorado Avalanche. On the 7th, they play the Vegas Golden Knights. On the 13th, they play the Montreal Canadiens. And on the 15th, of course, it's going to be the most anticipated reunion, the Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba at Madison Square Garden. Because as you know, when Jacob Trouba got traded last year, they already played the Ducks in the Garden. So we only got to see Jacob Trouba play against the Rangers one time, and they were on the road. And the Rangers still somehow lost that game. Oh my God, that game was so annoying to watch. I still remember that game. I went to the arcade with my sisters for one of my sister's birthday. And I was watching the game there, playing the arcade games, and the minute I just saw the Ducks like coming back and it went to overtime, I was like, this game is over. They're going to give this game away to them. And then boom, sure enough, game winner, Rangers lose. No surprise. So the 16th, they played the Vancouver Canucks once again. And then on the 20th, they played the Philadelphia Flyers. So on the 4th, for the road games, they have the Ottawa Senators. On the 10th, they play the Chicago Blackhawks. 18th, they play the St. Louis Blues. The 21st, they play the Nashville Predators. On the 23rd, they play the Washington Capitals. And then on the 27th, they play the New York Islanders. And then they play the Carolina Hurricanes. My bad, guys. They play them again on the 29th. So they're going to see this team. They're going to see Keandre Miller 3 times in 2 months. And then they play the Washington Capitals again for New Year's Eve. So like I said, guys, this is a crazy schedule for the Rangers as we speak. And now, so the start of the January 2026 month for this second half of the season. Sorry, guys. The second of this month will be the Stadium Series against the Florida Panthers. Now, I that's another game I'm going to try to go to because Loft for MVP already got his ticket. He's going to be going down there. So I'm going to really try my best to try to get this ticket so I can end up like interacting and meeting him down there too as well and things like that because it'd be an awesome feeling to go to a game and then there's someone you know that you follow and they follow you and you guys talk on a daily basis about this team on the social media and you guys just run into each other in person. It'd be an awesome feeling to see that. But so the Stadium Series, like I said, it's going to be a good one. They play in Miami. They're going to be, I believe at the Marlins Stadium where the Miami Marlins play baseball at. That's where they're more than likely going to do the Stadium Series. It's going to be an interesting one for me because as a person who lives in Florida, this is a pretty hot state, even in the winter. In the winter, the sun is beaming. So I want to see how they're going to try to like maintain the ice on the rink with the humidity that Florida has to offer. Because the humidity alone can definitely have the ice melting. So it's going to be interesting how they do it. Now, on the 10th, they play the Boston Bruins. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even tell you guys how many road games they have in January. So for January, they have 7 games on the road. And then, oh no, I lied, 8 games on the road. And then at home, they play literally 6 games. Now, this is probably the end of that complicated roller coaster schedule for them. But also on the 10th, they play the Boston Bruins on the road. On the 17th, they play the Philadelphia Flyers. On the 19th, they see the Anaheim Ducks on the road, the LA Kings on the 20th, and the San Jose Sharks on the 23rd. Basically, just getting their California trip out the way and seeing all 3 of those teams. And then they play the New York Islanders and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Islanders on the 28th and the Penguins on the 31st. Now, this is when it gets interesting because they're going to pretty much be done with the freaking New York Islanders series based on how they set up the scheduling for the winter with this team. Now, let's get to the home games because the home games are going to be pretty not as tough, but these home games are going to be games they have no reason to lose. So on the 5th, they play the Utah Mammoth. Now, the Mammoth, I'll give them credit. They might be a much better team this season coming. They might actually end up in the playoffs. They really are. They're a pretty young and good team. So on the 8th, they play the Buffalo Sabres as well at home. On the 12th, they play the Seattle Kraken at home. And then on the 14th, they play the Ottawa Senators. And then on the 26th, they face the Boston Bruins. And then on the 29th, they face the New York Islanders. So, like I said, this is when the schedule gets a little weird. Now, this one is going to be interesting as hell because on February, they're not even going to be playing. Listen to this. In February, they only have 3 games. Count it, guys. 3 games at home. Like, that's it. That's all you're going to get out of the New York Rangers this upcoming February. So on the 5th, they play the Carolina Hurricanes, which pretty much completes the series with the Carolina Hurricanes and Rangers. Then on the 26th, they play the Philadelphia Flyers. Then on the 28th, they play the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they get pretty much the battle with the Hurricanes and the Battle of Pennsylvania. They get both of those series out the way. Now, March, this is going to be when things get a lot better for this team because now they won't be on the road as much and they're going to be in New York a lot more. So I feel like with this scheduling on the home span, this is when you're going to see the New York Rangers probably play a lot more with comfort because now they're not going to be on the road as much. They're going to be at home a lot. So get ready to listen to this. So for March of this upcoming season, the New York Rangers literally have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. They have 10 games at home in March. 10 games, guys. 10 at-home games, right? Now, for the road, they only got to be on the road 6 times that month. So they got 6 games on the road and then 10 games at home. So this is going to be an exciting month for any Ranger fan because they're going to get to see this team play a lot, especially if you're living in New York. You're going to actually it's going to be probably crazy expensive to be watching all those games in that same month. But that's pretty awesome, though, that the New York Rangers are going to barely be on the road and at home for the majority of March. So this is why I said this more than likely why they only gave them that 3-game home span in February because they got to make up for this. So we'll start off with the 10 games at home. On the 2nd, they play the Columbus Blue Jackets. On the 5th, they play the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then on the 10th, they play the Calgary Flames. And then on the 16th, they play the LA Kings. On the 18th, they play the New Jersey Devils, which is very crazy because they are not going to see the Devils till spring. So that means the New York Rangers are going to be playing with everyone else in the division, but not face their top rival till like halfway towards the end of the season. That's crazy to me. But anywho, on the 22nd, they play the Winnipeg Jets. The 23rd, they play the Ottawa Senators. And then on the 27th, they play the Blackhawks. And on the 29th, they play the Florida. And on the 31st, they play the Devils. They're going to be playing the New Jersey Devils 3 times this month. On this particular month, they're gonna just get that series out the way. Now, on the 7th, which are the road games, they go to New Jersey. On the 9th, they go to Philadelphia. On the 12th, they go to Winnipeg. On the 14th, they go to Minnesota. On the 19th, they're in Columbus. And then on the 25th, they're in Toronto. And so this will be the last part of the schedule, which is April. You guys know April is pretty much the final part of the season, the final chapter. And this one ain't too bad. They got 4 games at home and then just 3 on the road. And once again, they're going to face a Florida team to end the season. This time, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning, ironically. And on the 2nd, they play at home. They face the Montreal Canadiens. On the 4th, they play Detroit for the last time. On the 5th, they face Washington Capitals for the one final season. And then they face the Buffalo Sabres one more time for the season on the 8th. And then on the road, they got 3 games, like I said. 11th, they played the Dallas Stars. On the 13th, they play the Florida Panthers. On the 15th, they play the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that's pretty much the schedule for the New York Rangers. We all know this is going to be like a century season for them because they've been around for 100 years. Hopefully, they do something. I know they can make the playoffs. I'm just worried that I don't know if they're going to pass the first round. That's my biggest concern. Because I know they have a team good enough to get on a deep run. In the regular season, there is no excuse for them this time to not be checked out. Like, Chris Drury isn't going nowhere. And honestly, if these players continue to try to quit and get checked out, I truly hope Chris Drury just forcefully tells them, I don't give a damn if you guys have no movement clauses. You're signing those shits off and you're getting the hell out of my team. That's what I'm hoping for. If Chris Drury, because Chris Drury actually did good this offseason. And I really hope that those players don't say, oh, fuck him, he's still around, I'm not going to give him my best. That's my main concern with the team. It's not the front office or any of that. It's the players themselves. Some of those guys, I truly don't know if they're going to really give it their all. You know what I mean? Igor Shesterkin, I can see having another bounce back year. Adam Fox, Mika Zibanejad possibly. Panarin, I know he's going to do his thing. He's going to score no matter what. Adam Fox is going to do his thing as well. And we have Garikov. Garikov, we're going to get good numbers out of him. I just don't know exactly how much. He's going to probably be that defender that can score and pass. He's a really good passer too. So that's where you're going to get the compliment with the duo of the Adam Fox and Garikov, because they're both good passers and they're both good defenders and they both can score. So that's my biggest thing. If those two can play really good, then I won't be as worried about the defense. The only pair I'm going to probably be realistic with you and tell you I'm worried about is more than likely the Will Borgen and Carson Soucy. That pairing is going to be garbage. Will Borgen, it's not even Will Borgen. Will Borgen can actually play. It's Carson Soucy I'm worried about. Carson Soucy, I still to this day don't know why Chris Drury thought it was a good idea to get a guy like Carson Soucy who's so ass. But I hope he proves all of us wrong. I want him to have a turnaround season, and I hope he can shut us up. Because the last thing I want to do is be proven right that he sucked as a defender. So, y'all have a wonderful day. You guys already know we're going to go ahead and wait for the upcoming season as always. But if more things happen around, we'll go ahead and keep y'all updated as well. So y'all have a wonderful day. Let's go Rangers.